Welcome to Gossip About Gossip, powered by Hedera Hashgraph. In each episode, we'll cut through the hype of blockchain promises and explore real-world examples of organizations creating the next generation of decentralized applications, which will bring trust back to the internet for us all.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of Gossip About Gossip, the podcast where we talk about real-world applications of distributed ledger technology. My name is Zenobia Gottschalk, and I'm the SVP of Communications here at Swirls Labs, helping to grow the Hedera ecosystem. Today, I am excited to be joined by Aliya Das Gupta, who is with us from the business development team at Sygnum Bank. Hi, Aliya. How are you?
Hi, Zenobia. Thank you so much for having me on today. It's a pleasure to be here.
So, Aliya, tell us a little bit about Sygnum Bank.
Sygnum is actually the world's first digital asset bank. We are based in Switzerland and in Singapore, dual headquartered, and more recently also acquiring licenses in Abu Dhabi and in Luxembourg.
Okay. And what does that mean to be, a fully regulated digital asset bank?
So that's a really good question. So it was back actually in 2016 that our four co-founders met at the Singapore FinTech Festival and realized that there was actually quite a lot of interesting things happening in the world of crypto, but that there wasn't any real financial service provider giving these new asset classes a sort of space in traditional finance. And so they were kind of developing in parallel worlds. And so Sygnum was really conceptualized as a bridge between the traditional markets and the crypto world. And so it was, I think in 2019 that we finally received a banking and services license from FINMA in Switzerland. And this is the same banking license that an HSBC or a UBS has here. And so our clients are able to have complete access to fiat bank accounts, run basic fiat banking services, but then also have custody of their crypto assets, and then also brokerage and being able to enter and exit the crypto world as they need.
Okay, so it's a little bit more seamless experience. You can hold a variety of assets, whether they are traditional or digital assets with Sygnum.
Exactly.
Okay. And it sounds like, there has been demand for it in terms of you growing your customer base. Are you seeing, various geographies have demand? Is it global?
It's certainly around the world that different players in the market space are looking for the services that we offer. So on one side, you have, the classic crypto native companies, the DAOs, the foundations, the trusts that need access to traditional financial services just to custodize, just to diversify, just to even, pay their salaries, pay their rent, things that they may not be able to do in crypto. But then you also have a lot of high net worth individuals or people who've made their wealth in the traditional world and are looking to diversify and enter the crypto market as well, but want to do this with a trusted, fully regulated counterparty. So we really look at sort of both sides of the market and are able to service kind of all of these different variety of needs.
Okay, and tell me a little bit about your role on the business development team.
Sure. So I lead business development here at Sygnum Bank. I work very closely with the sales team, with the marketing team, with the VCs team. So let's just say I work at the bridge or the cross section of all of the outreach that Sygnum does in the market. And essentially, Sygnum's very different from a traditional bank. Of course, our licensing is the same, but we see ourselves much more as a core ecosystem contributor. And that means that on multiple fronts, whether it's working with younger startups and getting them to engage with all the VCs that are anyway banking with us, to work with, to support them with their fundraising, with the KYC and AML of their investors. To be able to serve a little bit as a hub and bring together different players that need to have trusted, let's say, service providers in the space, but of course that can be challenging sometimes. So we serve a much larger role than just being purely a bank.
Okay. It sounds like you have a lot of different areas that you can potentially focus on.
Yeah, and I mean, one of the interesting parts of my role as well is to kind of listen very closely to the market and kind of understand where there are gaps that we can fill. So really often there might be a simple product or service that Sygnum can put forward that addresses what our client base and what the ecosystem in general actually is looking for or is missing at the moment. And so using our sort of regulated good guy hat in the ecosystem, there's a lot of flexibility or a lot of openness of working with our risk and compliance teams who are all also crypto native to be able to shape these sorts of new products to address our client market.
All right. And I feel like you're teeing up my next question here. And so was that how the relationship with Hedera came about?
Exactly. So we actually met with Kamal, who's, I believe, the president of the foundation here in Switzerland, at Davos.
Yeah, at the Hashgraph Association.
Yes, at the Hashgraph Association. And so we were in contact, I think, briefly a couple of years ago, but at that time, I think things were very new and just sort of being set up. But in January, the relationship sort of kicked off again. And we're very happy to be working more closely with the Hedera ecosystem as well. And there's a multitude of ways in which we can do this. So, I mean, sort of what we've done with other ecosystems as well is to kind of be a validator, supporting their governance processes, but then also providing banking services to the different startups that are starting out within a specific ecosystem, and then being able to custodize and work with HBAR as an asset means that there's a lot more flexibility for these companies as well, because not only is it just something that they liquidate every month to pay rent and so on, but then there are also different products and services that can be enabled specifically for the asset class.
And can you talk a little bit more about what those products and services are?
So, I mean, an obvious one in the near future would be staking of HBAR, like to make sure you're getting a return on it. But we're also able to take out lines of credit against the HBAR treasury. So if you have, let's say, I don't know, $1 million in HBAR, then you can also take out a line of credit to be able to use for your fiat liquidity without necessarily liquidating your long position in the market. So a classic sort of Lombard loan. You can sort of cover your position in HBAR if that's like your largest holding. So you can kind of create an options call that will ensure that you're kind of protected against any market volatility. So there's different ways in which you can really protect your position and then also diversify if that's something that you're interested in doing.
All right. And as you think about, your, the world is your oyster, right? As you think about sort of, your team and what you all hope to accomplish over the next 12 to 18 months, what kinds of services do you see yourselves offering, or where do you see expansion for Sygnum happening?
So I think within each ecosystem, there's just so much more that we can do. So I think on one side, of course, it's working with the different startups within the different projects. But we as a bank also really see our role at the edge of this innovative curve of CDeFi. So you have centralized DeFi, so bringing in sort of the best parts of the blockchain technology, but also leveraging our position as a trusted party in, let's say, with a government and so on. And so for example, one of the ideas that we're working with right now is on ZK identities. So being able to prove your identity without necessarily revealing who you are, but then being able to participate in a permissioned pool. So there are many, I think, proposals that are swimming around right now, and how these come to life is a little bit what the future will hold, let's say.
Well, very exciting. So if I'm an application, I've been funded by the HBAR Foundation or the Hashgraph Association or the DLT Science Foundation, and I want to take advantage of Sygnum's banking services, where should we point people?
That's easy enough. Then you can come directly to our website, and there's an onboard button for anybody who's doing this directly as an individual who holds HBAR. And if you are doing it as a company, then simply write into our contact form. Or, of course, you can always get in touch with us through LinkedIn, through Twitter, or directly to our emails.
All right. And it's just sygnum.com. Is that right?
That's correct. Exactly.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Aliya. Thank you for sharing with us. And I think this will be very valuable for our ecosystem.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me, Zenobia.